Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. It's a holiday edition of the program, and we're live to you on Channels Television, your home for the news. Let's remind you of some of the stories for today. In spite of the fact that it is a holiday, we've got some stories coming up from the markets. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission has placed indefinite suspension on Heritage Capital Markets Limited over allegations of unauthorized sale of shares belonging to an investor and the company's refusal to comply with the Commission's directives over the matter. Now, Heritage Capital's directors and sponsored individuals have also been suspended indefinitely by the Commission. The SEC warns the general public that the suspension will remain in force pending the resolution of the issue against the market operator. The Commission affirms it would not hesitate to take appropriate enforcement action against any person found to be in violation of the provisions of the ISA 2007 and the rules of regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Also at this hour, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation says it has adopted strategies to ensure operational profitability through the renegotiation of all existing contracts. The statement issued by the corporation explains that contract renegotiations has in gains of between 5 and 30% discounts so far. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Baru, also confirms that the corporation has completed negotiations with its joint venture partners towards the resolution of cash call funding challenges through payments of arrears. Also, the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors has again assured customers of continued metering. In Monday's full-page advertorial, the electricity distribution company says in the interim, until all customers can be metered, estimated billing methodology as defined by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission will be used. And conversations with Bosun some minutes ago actually points to the fact that all players need to come to the table sometime in the first quarter of 2017, and let's get to understand how we can quickly resolve the issues confronting this very critical sector, and that's the power sector. Electricity is very important for all sectors of the economy, and it has continued to affect the manufacturing sector particularly. Now, the method that the association actually talked about has been faulted and labeled crazy billing by customers, but the power companies say it is in line with stipulated guidelines from the regulator and that a huge penalty is placed on any disco that fails to conform to this. So, reviewing 2016 and looking at the economy as well as the people is the next focus now for the conversation I'll be having with Mike Adeleye. He's a human capital development consultant. He joins me on the program to look at some of the issues that have come up in 2016. Good morning to you, Mike. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Compliment of the season.
Thank you very much. And even though it's a holiday, it's still... the issues have still not, stopped running on our minds. And
Absolutely.
Taking a look at 2016, what would you say were the hopes of Nigerians starting the year?
Thank you very much. I think what we have to look into at the moment, we have to look into the macroeconomic conditions. We have to look into family financial situations. And we also have to look into the family income situation as well. Now, when all these three components are not favorable to consumers or the common man, then obviously we will be having this negative discussion about the recession and economic hardship condition that we're facing at the moment.
But then, Mike, you also have to remember that prior to the starting of this year, former Finance Minister Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala had told Nigerians to brace up in the coming years, to tighten their belt because things were not going to get any easier. So the warning was already there. The handwriting was already on the wall.
It was, precisely correct. But obviously, like the president actually said a couple of days ago, that he's still in shock that from all the windfall of the gains of petroleum that we had during the good times, and not a penny was saved. Now, what she said was right, but she shouldn't be in that position to be saying that. But if they had saved for the rainy day, then obviously we won't be in this mess that we're in at the moment. What she said is obviously because she knew that what we have in the treasury wouldn't be sustainable for us or as a country to actually keep us floating. So obviously she said it fine, but what are the things that she did in place to actually prevent? She's an economist, She should know what to do better. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about whereby we have a situation whereby we don't have what it takes to save for the rainy day. We had it, but we squandered it.
But Mike, also, I'm not holding brief here for the minister, but remember that, various articles and, of course, through the time we've noticed that there's been trying to give an account of what exactly was done to stave this off. Unfortunately or fortunately, because there's an advantage and a disadvantage to it, oil prices have not actually improved since the time she made that comment. And so it was in line with the fact that hopefully oil prices would improve, and so would have more to save in the eventuality that we have oil prices getting up to as much as 80, even 90, even $100 per barrel. But that's not the case. But in 2016, we still saw that didn't happen up till now. How do you think, in terms of spending power, how do you think households were able to cope in 2016? Don't forget we had high inflation, not to mention the global oil prices and the challenges that came with it. We had unemployment as well. We also had increase in cost of transport, food and healthcare, particularly for those at the bottom part of the pyramid.
Well, I'll have to go back to what Bosin mentioned here while he was there. I'm talking about generating power. Now, if the macroeconomy is not actually, which is supposed to be the bedrock of every economy, is actually not being in a situation whereby they can actually sustain themselves, then there's going to be a problem. Now, we don't have power supply, effective power supply in the country, whereby the artisans, the plumbers, the welders, and so on and so forth could actually be able to go into business, the small-scale businesses, be able to go into business using the power supply and everything. But we don't have it. That's number one. Unemployment is another major issue. Now, unemployment is gone up to 13.9% from 13.3% in the last quarter. Now, that tells you something, that consumer confidence is actually declining. Now, it has actually declined from 24, I think about 24.6, sorry, minus 24.6 to minus 28.6 at the moment. So that tells you people are wary of spending. They don't have the money. They literally have, they're wary to spend that money because they don't know where the next one is going to come from. Now, there's inflation, whereby things in the markets have skyrocketed and very expensive. Now, there are no jobs for their children. The ones that had jobs, they've lost their jobs. The ones that are actually in employment, they don't have salaries. They're not being paid the salaries. So you could see the magnitude of how, the society is actually going through the hardship. So the confidence is actually declining. So what we need to do now, is obviously to look into their employment situation.
What do you think were the main issues in human capital development in 2016?
It's a catalogue of reasons. Now, we're talking about no money in the economy, where employers can actually afford to pay salaries. Now, we're talking about lack of skilled employees or personnel for employers to take on, because what we have, I've spoken about this quite a few times, whereby we need to begin to look into skilled workers in this economy. A bunch or a large number of what we have in the economy are half-baked. They don't have the necessary skills that employer needs for them to be taken on. And that is the reason why I've been advocating for this apprenticeship scheme. It's something that I'm actually working on at the moment, but watch this space. It's going to come up soon, whereby I'm trying to go through my academy, whereby we could bring a lot of people into what we call apprenticeship